Have you ever had that nagging feeling deep inside, the one you can't quite explain, that whispers something is off, even when he insists that everything is perfect? It's that subtle unease that lingers, the kind that surfaces when the world around you looks normal, everyday, even harmonious, but your instincts scream that there's more going on beneath the surface. It's a peculiar sensation, almost like a quiet alarm going off inside your chest, that his words might be sincere, but his actions are telling a completely different story. The reality is painful. Men who are unfaithful rarely admit it willingly, yet they always leave behind little hints, almost invisible signs that are easy to miss if you're not paying attention. These signals are often faint, almost imperceptible, yet persistent, lingering in small gestures, in tiny changes that slowly build a pattern. And although many women prefer to overlook these hints, convincing themselves it's nothing, that they're imagining things, or that it's all just a phase, the truth is that ignoring them often carries a heavy cost. Your inner peace, your sense of self-worth, and in some cases, precious years of your life. Today, I want to delve into those subtle warnings, the ones most women unconsciously dismiss. These are not mere assumptions or abstract theories. They are recurring patterns observed time and time again in men who betray. No matter how charming, convincing, or seemingly genuine they appear, these patterns don't lie. So, I urge you to pay attention, stay alert, and open your eyes wide, because understanding these signs could be the difference between holding on to a lie or protecting yourself before it drains you emotionally. First sign, his focus shifts, but his words stay unchanged. Infidelity rarely begins with an open confession. Instead, it starts quietly, subtly, with an imbalance that you often sense before you can put it into words. A man who is cheating almost never admits it outright. Instead, he continues to say all the familiar phrases you've heard before. I love you. Everything is fine. There's nothing wrong. But while the words are comforting, his actions slowly diverge from the story he's telling. You begin to notice slight alterations in his gaze, a decrease in attention, or gestures that once came naturally, like a gentle touch on your back or an unexpected message during the day, which gradually vanish. These changes are subtle, just enough that your intuition picks up on them even if your mind hesitates. And this is precisely where confusion sets in. He continues speaking the right words, maintaining a semblance of presence, yet something within him seems absent. A wall rises, invisible but palpable, and you feel the disconnect even if you can't explain it. Why does this happen? The truth is, human attention and energy are limited. When a man starts dividing his emotional world or forming attachments outside the relationship, the subtle shift is inevitable. No amount of skill or charm can fully hide it. Yet many women, sensing this distance, respond by trying harder, investing more of themselves, seeking to reignite the spark, yearning to return to the familiar warmth of the past. They justify the behavior. He's just stressed, it's work, things will get better, all while overlooking the quiet truth. Actions speak far louder than words. When his focus diminishes, but the verbal reassurances persist, it is one of the earliest and most telling signs that shouldn't be dismissed. Real love manifests in consistent emotional presence. When that presence fades, even if the lips continue to say, I love you, your inner voice already recognizes the absence. Listen to that feeling. It's an honest reflection of reality. A man who betrays starts by redirecting the very energy that should belong to you, and that is the first subtle yet unavoidable signal. Second sign, a sudden surge of excessive attention, guilt masquerading as affection. Infidelity sometimes doesn't announce itself through absence, but through an overwhelming, almost theatrical display of care. Imagine this: the man who seemed distant, detached, or less emotionally available suddenly transforms overnight into someone attentive to an extreme degree. He becomes affectionate, generous, and endlessly thoughtful. Compliments flow without reason, gifts appear unexpectedly, and he constantly reminds you of his love in a way that feels larger than life. At first glance, this might feel like progress, a return to the intimacy you feared was lost. Relief might wash over you as hope flickers. Maybe things are improving, you think. Yet deep down, a subtle unease lingers, because the attention seems too intense, too forced, almost staged. This behavior is what psychologists call overcompensation, a mechanism often triggered by guilt. When a man realizes, consciously or unconsciously, that he has crossed an emotional or moral boundary, his mind seeks to reconcile the conflict. One of the easiest ways to alleviate internal discomfort is through exaggerated gestures of love. The affection isn't genuine. It's a mask, a distraction, a way to silence the pangs of conscience that remind him of the betrayal. He gives more because he knows, on some level, that he is taking something from you, and he hopes that these over-the-top actions will cover the cracks. Unfortunately, many women fall into this trap. They feel reassured by this sudden increase in attention, doubting their previous suspicions and questioning their intuition. They begin to trust again, to open up, unaware that the sweetness they perceive may be a veneer hiding a wound that continues to fester beneath the surface. Excessive attention that emerges out of nowhere, lacking genuine root or reason, is just as alarming as indifference. True love does not appear overnight as a grand spectacle. It is steady, consistent, and sincere. If a man who was previously distant suddenly becomes flawless, ask yourself, is this a heartfelt gesture, or is it born from guilt? Guilt can fill your life with presence, flattery, and smiles, yet leave the emotional connection hollow and empty. Third sign, the digital withdrawal. One of the clearest indicators that a man is betraying trust is a sudden change in how he interacts with his phone or digital devices. A device that was once casually accessible can become a fortress overnight. It is treated as if it holds secrets too sensitive to share, like a diary brimming with hidden truths. Often, you don't even need to see a single message to sense the shift. The change in behavior alone speaks volumes. It usually starts subtly. The phone, once casually left on a table, now always stays close, perhaps in his pocket or even tucked into a bag. Charging habits change, and a once public device suddenly becomes private. Small signals reveal the truth. He becomes tense when the phone rings, defensive if you approach while he's typing, or protective over new passwords. A man who is transparent with his life feels no need to conceal anything. This isn't about violating privacy. It's about noticing a fundamental shift in trust. And yet, many women dismiss these changes, excusing them with thoughts like, everyone needs privacy, or it's probably just work. But the clue isn't in the specific content, it's in the response, in the subtle signs that something is being hidden. The digital disconnect often extends beyond just secrecy. You may notice fewer messages, shorter replies, less engagement in conversations that once flowed easily. Even when he claims he's busy or insists that nothing is wrong, his energy is subtly shifting elsewhere. Emotional detachment almost always precedes physical betrayal. The phone becomes a window into a world where you are gradually being excluded. If your partner starts guarding his device and withdrawing digitally, take note. These behaviors are frequently symptomatic of a love that has started to drift. Fourth sign, emotional withdrawal. Physically present, emotionally absent. Perhaps the most insidious and heart-wrenching sign is the quiet emptiness that emerges when someone is physically there but emotionally elsewhere. Certain men maintain their routines, continue showing up physically, yet the emotional bond that once existed fades. This distance can be extremely confusing because there are no loud arguments, no dramatic confrontations, just a gentle, silent withdrawal that pervades everything. Conversations become superficial. Topics that once sparked deep dialogue now feel shallow. Shared laughter diminishes, and long silences begin to feel heavy. Eye contact dwindles, and a familiar warmth slowly turns into a subtle chill. You may start questioning yourself, blaming your own efforts, wondering if you're not attractive enough, patient enough, or understanding enough. But the truth is stark. When a man has emotionally checked out, no amount of attention or care can restore the connection because he is no longer present to receive it. This invisible disconnection frequently precedes any physical act of infidelity. No one breaks trust abruptly. Emotional detachment comes first. He begins mentally drifting away, constructing an imperceptible barrier and slowly seeking fulfillment elsewhere. The danger lies in denial. Many men will claim everything is fine, accusing you of overreacting, imagining problems where none exist. But your instincts are accurate. You feel the emptiness because it is real, not because you are mistaken. Emotional absence is the silent precursor to deeper betrayals, the quiet sign that the connection has already started to fray. Have you ever noticed that quiet, persistent unease, that subtle sense that something isn't quite right even when he insists, with all his charm and reassurances, that everything is perfectly fine? It's that strange inner voice that refuses to be silenced, the one that whispers to you even when the world outside seems calm and ordinary. Perhaps on the surface, life appears unchanged. Same routines, same words, same gestures, but inside, you feel it. A nagging truth that something is off, that the picture he paints with his words doesn't quite match the reality his actions reveal. The body can go through the motions, pretending everything is normal, but the soul cannot. That inner voice is far more attuned than the conscious mind, and it notices the gaps, the empty spaces, the subtle cracks that words cannot cover. The reality, as harsh as it may sound, is that men who betray rarely admit it openly, but they almost always leave behind traces, small indications that they are not who they seem. These clues are usually subtle, quiet, almost imperceptible, yet persistent, recurring in their behavior in ways that are difficult to ignore once you truly start paying attention. While it is tempting to rationalize, excuse, or overlook these signals, the truth is that doing so often carries a heavy cost: your sense of peace, your self-esteem, and sometimes years of emotional energy and life experience. Today, I want to explore those overlooked signs, the ones many women dismiss or fail to see. These are not abstract ideas or mere assumptions. These are real patterns that repeat consistently among men who betray, regardless of how charming, attractive, or convincing they appear. So, open your mind and your heart. The insights I'm about to share could help you recognize the truth before it quietly chips away at your emotional well-being. 5. Emotional withdrawal. Hugs without warmth. Presence without connection. There comes a point when the subtle signals of betrayal become painfully tangible. You notice that his embraces no longer carry the same warmth, that his eyes fail to linger as they once did, and that his words, though familiar, feel automatic, rehearsed. Because the body can go through the motions, but the soul reveals the truth. A man who is gradually emotionally withdrawing begins to offer the bare minimum. He is physically present, but emotionally absent. And the cruelest part of all is that many women cling to these scraps of attention, believing it is temporary, believing it is a phase that will pass, even as every fiber of their being senses otherwise. Don't ignore that quiet, insistent voice within you. The heart knows long before the mind comprehends. When a man remains with you purely out of habit or convenience, your inner self perceives it in every empty touch, every hollow caress, every word that carries no weight. And in those moments, more than ever, you need courage. The courage to see the truth that he no longer has the bravery to speak aloud. 6. Irritability and unfair criticism, guilt projected onto you. Another subtle yet significant sign is the sudden appearance of irritability and unjustified criticism, behaviors that often stem from his own internal guilt. This is a pattern that many women overlook because it doesn't arrive overtly. It sneaks in quietly, disguised as frustration. A man who previously displayed patience, warmth, or at least tolerance may suddenly become easily annoyed, harshly judgmental, and overly critical over trivial matters. He may blame you for things that make little sense, scrutinize you differently, and view your actions through a lens far removed from affection or understanding. This behavior does not arise spontaneously. It reflects an internal struggle, a quiet emotional battle he is waging with himself. When a man is betraying or entertaining thoughts of betrayal, a part of him knows he is breaking trust, failing you, failing the relationship. Yet, unable to confront this guilt directly, whether with himself or with you, he unconsciously seeks an outlet, projecting the discomfort outward. This is how the cycle begins. First, he views you differently, then criticizes you, then becomes irritated by behaviors that were once trivial or inconsequential. Suddenly, any action, any word, any choice you make can become fodder for conflict. How you speak, how you dress, how you manage daily routines, how you express your emotions, everything may become a battleground, and you slowly start questioning yourself. You begin asking, have I changed? Am I really failing at something? Is he right? The painful truth is this: it is not your fault. The source of this behavior lies entirely within him, within the tension between his choices and his conscience. Men who are betraying often need to rationalize their actions, to justify the widening gap between their commitments and their desires. One of the easiest methods is to convince you, or even themselves, that you are no longer worthy of the attention, affection, or emotional investment they are withdrawing. Yet what they don't tell you is that their irritability, their sharp words, and their constant criticism are really reflections of their own inner discomfort. You become the mirror for their failing conscience, and in doing so, you are unfairly punished for the turmoil they themselves are experiencing. The most heart-wrenching aspect is that many women respond by bending over backwards, working tirelessly to regain the affection that has been slipping away. The truth, however, is stark. This behavior has nothing to do with your actions and everything to do with his internal guilt. If a man suddenly grows impatient without reason, criticizes without justification, and seems constantly irritated by you, pay close attention. Betrayal doesn't always begin with a stolen kiss or a secret message. Often, it begins with a heart that is quietly drifting and a mind that seeks to shift blame outward rather than face the truth within. 7. Shifts in intimacy, either absence or excess. Perhaps one of the clearest markers of emotional or physical betrayal is reflected in changes to intimacy. When a man's attention, affection, or desire begins to move elsewhere, the way he physically engages with you inevitably transforms. And this is where confusion often arises. These changes are not uniform. For some, intimacy diminishes sharply, almost disappearing. For others, it becomes unusually intense, overwhelming, and sometimes desperate. Both extremes serve as warnings. When intimacy dwindles, the root cause is usually emotional separation. Desire fades because the heart, mind, or body has shifted focus. Even if he tries to feign engagement, the absence is palpable. The lack of true connection manifests in hollow touches, distracted caresses, and interactions that feel empty. Conversely, in situations where intimacy intensifies unexpectedly, it is often a compensatory strategy rather than a reflection of renewed affection. A man may suddenly display heightened passion, increased attentiveness, and even daring behaviors in bed, leaving you confused. You may think, if he desires me this much, how could he be unfaithful? This line of thinking often prolongs the deception, creating a false sense of security. Such behaviors are usually an unconscious attempt to reconcile guilt, a way to alleviate the inner voice that reminds him he is betraying something real. In both scenarios, either the withdrawal or the overcompensation, the body communicates what words will not. Changes in intimacy, especially when unexplained, are a direct reflection of emotional energy shifts and should never be ignored. Desire alone is not a measure of love. It can mirror guilt, confusion, or instinctual need, divorced from genuine emotional connection. And that is precisely why it is felt so acutely, because even without spoken words, the subtle dissonance leaves a lasting, invisible mark on the heart. 8. Stories that no longer align, the cracks in truth. Another undeniable sign of betrayal is inconsistency in his narratives. When a man is unfaithful, the stories he tells often begin to fray. At first, it may seem trivial, a misplaced detail, a discrepancy in a timeline, or a minor contradiction in what he said yesterday compared to today. However, when you begin observing closely, patterns emerge. Facts no longer match, schedules fail to align, and subtle inconsistencies become increasingly frequent. This happens because lies require constant maintenance. The truth is linear, effortless, and does not demand editing. Lies, in contrast, need constant reconstruction to cover the gaps and sustain the deception. A man attempting to maintain dual realities lives in a heightened state of vigilance, constantly remembering what he said, when, and how. Inevitably, this intricate web begins to unravel. Dates don't match, messages go unmentioned, past conversations are misremembered or contradicted. And when confronted, many men respond not with honesty, but with defensiveness. You're imagining things, you're overreacting, or you're looking for problems where none exist. This defensive strategy is a form of emotional manipulation, designed not only to hide the truth, but to make you doubt your own perception. When a woman begins questioning her instincts, control has subtly shifted away from her awareness. The lesson here is to trust observable facts over persuasive words. If narratives clash, if details contradict, if timelines fail to make sense, that is a clear sign. a warning that does not require justification. The truth, when repeatedly altered, is a signal that loyalty may already be compromised. 9. Intuition. Your inner radar knows before the mind does. Of all the signs, there is one that never fails, even though it is frequently ignored: your own intuition. There is an innate part of you that recognizes when a man has drifted emotionally, when subtle changes in energy and behavior signal a shift in priorities, even before tangible proof is present. Unfortunately, many women suppress this inner voice, preferring comforting lies to confronting an unsettling truth. They notice the discomfort, sense the change, feel the deceit, yet choose to remain silent, convincing themselves that the words they hear are more reliable than the feelings they experience in their core. Why do we do this? Because the fear of loss often outweighs the discomfort of suspicion. Admitting the truth would require action, letting go, making difficult decisions, and facing wounds we may not yet be ready to confront. Yet intuition is rarely wrong. The more it is ignored, the more it manifests through anxiety, sleepless nights, unexplained sadness, and persistent unrest. Your mind churns, searching for explanations, all while the body attempts to alert you to the truth your conscious self resists acknowledging. Intuition may not provide concrete proof, but it offers certainty of an emotional kind, a protective instinct designed to alert you when something is amiss. It whispers, "Something isn't right here," and the wisest response is not to silence it, but to listen carefully, observe changes, and remain willing to act if your instincts demand it. No love is worth compromising your own inner guidance. Intuition acts as a compass, and when a man is untruthful, your inner self perceives it long before words, messages, or confessions surface. The signs exist, always. The challenge is not discovering them, but summoning the courage to trust what you already know deep down. Before you go, take a moment. Thank yourself for being here, for listening, for showing up today. You don't have to have everything figured out. Just keep taking small steps. I'll see you in the next story.